Okay, so I ran it through the ultrasonic cleaner, but as you can see, I mean, it's not all the gum, a lot of varnish is off, but it's still some hand cleaning to do. It's not like the old days where we used to have good stuff to soak them in. So I'm gonna let the camera run, and I'm just gonna start cleaning it up. I'll try to edit out some of the boring parts. I'm not gonna make a 2-hour video about a carburetor, because carburetors aren't that complicated. People make them too complicated. This is what I look like. All right. This is where the accelerator pump goes, plunger. What's that? There's the old one. And it just goes in there, and I mean, it was still, that part was actually still good. It was just, but it was so gummed up it wouldn't even hardly move. But it wouldn't move on its own. I have to move it with my hands. But neither here or there now, because we're gonna put a new kit in. Coming out, it'll give you a better understanding of how a carburetor works for one thing, but also you need to know what you need to clean out. See, you can clean out each one of these feeds. That's important. That's a screw hole. That's where your meter right. See, that's coming out. That's the float bowl. So gas is stored in this bowl, and then it's going, as the air comes through the venturi and it comes through and it's sucking air, it's going to pull fuel up, go down through the meter and rise. And that's how much, that's how we control how much fuel we burn. Without that, you just have raw fuel and be flooded all the time. And the main thing I can tell you when you're doing one is make sure everything's just as clean as you can get it. What I'm gonna do, I'll be editing out this part anyway, so I'm on AC. Just in case I play some of this, it's hot today. I got a little air conditioner in my shop, and as soon as I turn it off, it starts warming up. So I'm not gonna play it for the whole thing, screw up the audio, because I'm already missing my mic. My mic's messed up, so I'm not gonna sit here and burn up either if I can help it. All right, y'all, we're going to try to put this carburetor back together now. I don't know if I included this, do it separate. I made a quick little 2 or 3 minute video on why not to buy those cheap Amazon carburetor kits. And I'm not going to talk about that right now. So, when I tore it down, I kept the jet separate, the primary jet separate from the secondary jets. I always do that. Little trick I do, I put a little straw off carburetor cleaner in. It goes right in that hole, and that's how I do it. I got it down into that hole. Oh, so you just can't get your fingers in it. And I just lightly snug it up with my, I got this little small screwdriver. It's thin. It doesn't really, I don't want to crank down on it, but it does speed up the process. And then I'll go back and I'll torque it down. Not with a torque wrench, but tighten it down with a little bigger screwdriver so I don't damage the jet. Okay. I'll put these secondary jets in. I'm doing the same thing. See, I slide this straw through the hole. You might see this one better. Oh, I'm gonna drop it. And that's just a guide. That's all I'm doing. Just guiding it down into the hole where it goes. And then when I pull it out, it'll kind of sit there. Then I can tighten it up. Like I said, I'll come back with a screwdriver that fits a little better, tightened up, but it's just, well, like in this passage, see, it's kind of hitting the passage. So I don't want to. That's why I use the thinner one. Most of it's one passage. Let me double check, see if I got that one tight. Actually, no, it wasn't. Okay, I got it that time. All right, so that's, you can start it where you want. That's just where I start. All right, and I'm gonna put the new rubber on the accelerator pump. The kit comes with a new spring return spring for the accelerator pump. So just go ahead and drop that in. I'm gonna set the accelerator pump on right there. If you want to see, excuse me, if you want to see the accelerator pump working, well, I would take it the squirter on it. Let's drop this in. It only goes one way, and I never can just drop it straight in. Don't do enough of them anymore. That actually works like a vacuum secondary. It just doesn't, you know, where Holly has the servo on the side, this doesn't. But it does the same thing. That's what makes it. That makes it when you pull down on it, vacuum comes in and opens it up. Let's see. I'll throw these Venturis in. Get the gasket on first. I'm putting the wrong one. I got the carburetor turned around. These have to go in the right place. There's no, the right and left are not the same. No. Alright, that's how they go. Sometimes you gotta stop and think about it. And I do the same thing. I'll my video might suck, but I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway because it might help somebody who's never done one before. my air compressor kicking in. If y'all hearing that, that's what it is. If you keep all your parts separated, keep everything, like I'm working from the front of the carburetor to the back, and when I lay the parts out, I keep everything left to right. That's why that's confused me going, I had the carburetor around backwards trying to put stuff in. It's not hard. I mean, it's not something, people make these videos, and they do things, some of them make them real complicated, and it can get, if you're adjusting them for all different things, especially racing, yeah, I'm sure it can get complicated, but this is just a straight up, your carburetor's gummed up, let's fix it and get it going again, rebuild, and that is not complicated. You're just putting it back like you found it. Main thing is going through cleaning everything, spraying everything with air, spraying everything, all the passages with carburetor cleaner. You know, if you don't have a tank to soak them in or ultrasonic cleaner, you can still do it with a spray can. I mean, it's just take your time. Okay, we're just snugging these up. You don't want to try to go in there and just break anything, but you also want it good and firm. You'll bring that gasket down, compress that gasket flat. All right. Same thing here, just got to find the right gasket. And I believe I did. And once again, I don't want that gasket moving over to the side, so I'll take my little straw. I'll drop it down in there. Since I kept everything together, I don't have to look around for the screws. I could put a little bit of grease or something on, hold that gasket on, but I just don't like doing that with carburetors. I just don't. I do it on other things, but not with carburetors. I just like to keep everything as clean as I possibly can. One thing, I don't know if I got this on video or not, but this board, this is accelerator pump board, it's got a seal. That's got a seal into it, you know, for it to work. So always run your finger down in there and make sure you can feel where the board kind of necks down at the bottom. That's where your stroke is. Make sure, especially down there, it's really clean. If there's any scores or anything, get some ultrafine, some real fine, not ultrafine, but some real fine sandpaper like 400. Emery cloths is what I used, and just go through there and clean it out. I mean, just polish it up. Okay, we'll put our baffles in. These baffles go to the back. They're just baffles. When I say go to the back, they go in this slot right here, and they're recessed. The recess goes to the back. And they just slap it in, and all they are is just keep fuel from sloshing back and forth. You know, you got your jet back there, and you don't want fuel cavitating and sloshing. But they definitely need to be put in there, because that's when we get the top on the carburetor. That's where your float's going to ride, right in there. And you know, with that float being in there, you don't want a lot of slosh going back and forth in there, because that would really change the way things run. Okay, we're gonna get our squirter in and show y'all something here. Should be a spring somewhere. Okay. You see in the kit, you have that weight and that spring. You use either one, whichever one comes out, you should put it back. I like the weight better, but when you see that spring in there, you may not see it in the carburetor, but where it goes, there's a little, you probably can't see it, but there's a little ball in it. This ball goes in there and blocks a little hole, a little check valve for your squirter, keeps it from, and that spring holds the ball down. Fuel pressure, when I press the accelerator pump, fuel pressure is going to push it up, and then it falls back down. But you may not have that weight. You may have that spring instead of the weight, is what I'm saying. So you don't think you got extra pieces left over. It's just going to be either or. All right. Squirter. This goes in like this. Okay, so that's pretty much the bottom half of it built. I was going to show you all how you check your squirters. You pour a little fuel down in there. I just got some, I keep True Fuel, just chainsaw, not True Fuel, whatever. Yeah, it is called True Fuel. True Fuel. Anyway, can y'all see the squirter squirting? So I don't know how well that showed up on video, but okay. So let's build the top half. It's really just not that much to it. It's just mostly cleaning. Okay, dokie. The kit's gonna come with 2 brand new needles and seats. You don't need a lot of tools to do this. A few screwdrivers, this one's got some Torx on it. Okay, they come with these little screens. And it also comes with a screen that goes in right in here. Anyway, I always put the screen in under the needle and seat. I think that's a good place. I'm also going to run inline fuel filter in the system. Don't get me wrong, but this is just a good last place to catch it. Any little trash that might be coming through when I say it, I gotta be more careful how I speak. I guess I should. I should practice before I make these videos. I just don't. Might be better if I did. Some people write scripts, kind of read what they're scripted, and I'm just talking to you like you're in the room. So if y'all think I should do it another way, put it in the comments. I'll try it. I'll try whatever. All right. These are good little gaskets. See, the cheap kit has a different kind of gasket. I don't like it. I don't know. I just don't. It may be all right, but I personally just do not like it. So I don't use it. You'll notice when you put these in, they're at a little bit of an angle. You might be thinking you're going to cross thread them. Just start them with your fingers, you'll be fine. And then we'll go through and we'll snug them up. Make sure you got the right screwdriver, because even with that I slipped a little bit, but I didn't gouge it. But if you don't have the right size screwdriver, you'll tear them up. They're made out of brass. All right, drop your needles in. And next is this gasket. Go ahead and put that gasket on now before you put the floats in, because you can't put it in after the floats are in. Now the way these floats go in, just like that. That little tang goes down. You can kind of see you can actually see where the fuel is running. I'm reusing the old floats. There's nothing wrong with them. But that's how your float goes on. And there is no clip. Some carburetors got a little clip under the needle where the float actually picks it up. This one just does it off the fuel pressure. I mean, they're just, you see how, you can't feel it, but I mean, you don't even have to barely touch it and they'll move. There's no spring under them or anything. They just ride right on the bottom of that float. Just an old simple design. So, that's how they go. If you don't know, this is a direct copy of a Carter AFB. Used to be a good carburetor back in the 60s. And that's Edelbrock. I guess they must have bought the patent to it, because they pretty much direct copied it. I don't think the Carter had torque screws, but all right. Now, as you can see, there's no way those floats are adjusted right, so we'll have to do that. And my compressor running again. This is what it sounds like in the shop. I hear people apologize and stuff like that. I'm not. This is what shop sounds like. Okay. Now, what I just did, this one wasn't even close. I guess I should have videoed it better. But you lift it up off the needle of the seat, put your finger down, and just bend the float up if you don't have 7/16. Okay, I got that one too high. And I do the same thing, except I'm going to hold it with some needle nose pliers. What you don't want to do is push down on that needle. You're going to push down on that needle because you'll ruin the seat. So, you just very lightly. That's almost perfect. Let me get just a little bit more, and I'll show you. Try to get a little closer and show you. I don't went too far. Okay. You can see, still a little high. Still a little high. All right. You want 7/16 right up front, and you got to have the gasket, and gasket is part of that measurement. And see how as soon as I go on there, it's 7/16, and as soon as I go right past the front, it kind of lifts up. That's how you adjust the float. I do the same thing with this other float. As soon as I get there, there's 7/16. As soon as I go past it, it starts to lift. That's one adjustment on the float. Second adjustment, we got to do float drop. As you can see, these are wildly different. So we're gonna adjust it up. But show y'all, it's 15/16 is what I'm gonna wind up adjusting this float. But you need to look at the instructions. there showing how to do that with a drill bit, just like I did. Now here, we're gonna measure from this, when the float drops. I'm gonna show you how to do the float drop, and it's 15/16 is how much drop. You could do it an inch, but 15/16 is what they call for, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'm off. Do the same thing. I'll lift the float up just off that needle seat, and then I'll push down on that little tang that I showed y'all. What, I may have to take this one loose. That's the part you push this down. That's the part that you adjust your float drop with. All right. Let's see how we're looking here. All right, remember, hold the gasket flat, and then we're gonna measure it, and not quite. We got a little, not quite enough drop. I got too much drop. Almost. I'm at 1 inch, so I gotta get another 1/16. These older floats are hard to bend, but that makes me feel like they're probably made out of better stuff. All right. And once again, I went too far. So I just deal with it, going back and forth, whatever I gotta do. All right, that one's 15/16. Let's see what this one is. Got lucky on that one. Now, I always go back and double check your float height adjustment after messing with it, just in case you, like, see there, I moved that one. I bent that one a little bit and didn't mean to. That's why you go back and double check it after you do the float drop. Okay, so that's done. Alrighty. Now we can set the carburetor, top up the carburetor on. You can do this accelerator pump 2 different ways. You can either put it through the top and go ahead and put your springs and all on. I'm gonna try to set it all down like that. And the reason I want to do it that way, I can make sure nothing gets bound up. But it's really, you can do it either way, whatever your preference is on that. Now, if everything's assembled correctly, I don't know if you can see that it just sat flat down all on its own. I didn't have to force anything, bang anything. If you have some of these pieces moved around don't know if you remember I said the left part's going to the left, the right part's going to the right. If you get one of them mixed up, it won't do that. So if you go to set it down and it doesn't fit just right, just take it apart, start and just move some things because it would be misassembled. Okie dokie. This one has a manual choke, so I got a manual choke bracket. If you got an automatic choke, then that part wouldn't be on there. When most of them will be automatics, which is why I'm mentioning it. And I don't know if I said this is a 1405. There's 1406. I don't know. There's several different numbers, but they're all basically you're gonna do the exact same thing when you rebuild one of these. It's the same design, same process of what we do when we rebuild one. There's no magic to putting these screws in. I just put them down there till they kind of touch before I tighten any rest of them up. I know some people probably run them down with a drill or whatever. I just don't. It's be easy to cross thread something or have a problem, so I just glue it by hand. I'm in no hurry anyway. I'm not working on flat rate anymore. I'm just screwing around making a YouTube video, so I don't care if it takes all day. But there's nothing wrong with running them down with a drill either. Just not if you know what you're doing. Okay, I got them all down flat, and I'll go around and I'll just give them, just tighten them up firm, and I do like to skip around side to side. I don't know if it matters, but that's what I do. It matters on a lot of stuff, so maybe it matters on this. So get them good, tighten them up good and firm. I don't know what the foot pounds would be, no idea, but I'm not going to put a wrench on the screwdriver and crank it down any tighter than I do with just my wrist. On this one, put a little bit more on because it's got that bracket on it. Okay. And I just always go through, just check them one more time. Make sure we didn't miss one. Start putting our accelerator pump linkage on. Trying to get where the camera can see it. I'm sorry if I'm missing it, but I'm trying. All right. Put your little S bracket in there. I don't know what the proper name is, but it looks like an S, something called S bracket. And you gotta, if for some reason you couldn't figure out where this goes, it's got a little hole on one side and a big hole on the other. That big hole is centered up by this screw, so it goes on the outside. These are adjustable. You got 3 holes to choose from. This one came out of the middle hole, so I'm putting it back in the middle hole. But if you had a hesitation or if you're getting too much fuel, when you hit the accelerator pump, that's how you would adjust it. You move it from one hole to the next. That's why you got 3 holes there. All right, there's some little clips that goes Goes in here. Try to get them around where y'all can see me put them in. Now on this is your butterfly linkage. You got a little puzzle piece looking thing there that goes in just like that. And this falls over and goes to it, and it's gonna have a clip. Okie dokie. So you can see when you press the gas, your gas is gonna hook your accelerator linkage is hooked to that ball socket right there on most of them. You're pressing your accelerator linkage, and there you go. You can adjust that. That's a see, it goes to there before it starts to before it really squirts. I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not. That's where it came from. But I'll drive it if I want to change that. And I may if I want a shorter stroke, then I'll put it right there. Actually, it'd be a quicker stroke. Okay. So we're gonna put our metering rods in next. Remember what I said? Left and I kept everything left and right. First, you got a little spring that comes in. It goes right up under this. It don't go under this metering rod. It goes under this little vacuum. Vacuum pulls on that little piston right there. Sometimes it wants to fight a little bit. But just don't force it. If you notice, I just kept wiggling it and feeling around until I got it to fall in the place where I wanted it to fall. So for your fuel inlet, let's clean that up a little bit. Missed that. I missed that earlier when I was cleaning. Here it is. And I know I keep saying it, but this is what rebuilding a carburetor to me is all about. Just cleaning it. You know, you're looking for damaged parts and stuff, of course, but other than that, it's just cleaning everything up. And that's all that was wrong with this carburetor. When I tore it down, and hopefully I'll be able to show that if I got a good video of it. It was just gummed up. The fuel been sitting in it for however long it's been since this truck really ran. It was driven. When fuel gets varnishy and sticky, all those little tiny valves and not valves, but little balls and little needles and seats and all those little things that you saw, it doesn't take any effort to move, but it don't take much effort for it to stick either. So clean, clean, clean. Worst thing for a carburetor or about anything to do with a car is sitting. Okay, I'm gonna have to. I have not cleaned up yet either. don't know if y'all want to see what I'm doing. I keep a little wire brush around where this comes. Well, I'm not going to take it apart and show you. I don't use a wire brush inside the carburetor. There's a coating on there from the factory that you'll scrape off with. I use a toothbrush inside. And all you really look for these is just see if they're gouged or anything. If they are, you got to replace them. I don't know how to get gouges on them, but they do. Pretty common, actually. So, I'll show you how I preset them. Let me clean this one right quick. People's got all different little formulas how to do it. I'm just going to show you what I do. It might not be right, but it's always worked for me. I just screw them all the way down. I don't crank them down. Like as soon as it gets down there, on to get that spring stopped. All right, I'm gonna center it up to the top to the bottom right there on that one. I'm gonna do the same thing, which was about just a very little bit of a turn, not much of a turn. We're going to adjust this carburetor anyway when we get done. All right, there's all the way down. There again, it's just a very turn, and then I go around. There's half a round, one round, half a round, half a round, one round, half a round. I'm doing this in two rounds. Another half a round, 2 rounds. And the reason I backed it up, it was still the spring was still a little tight, so I felt like it needed to be backed up. Pretty much it. This is good and tight. I was going to take that out and put some Teflon on it. It felt like it was going to break something or strip something, so I didn't do it. Secondary throttle valve should just start to open when there was 13/32 centimeter, or 13/32 or 103 centimeters inch between primary throttle valve and bore of carburetor. Let's just check that. Okay, there it is. Okay, I'm off a little bit. So, well, let's just get it perfect. Here's how you adjust that. You take these little clips out. Lay them where you can find them. Now I want it longer, so what I'll do is I'll hit this I'll take a little hammer and find a little hammer, and I'll tap that down, and since that's the way that's made, that'll spread it out and make it just a little bit longer. right, maybe I got it that time. Let's just see. By Jove, I think we got it. All right. It was more like 10, 30 seconds, which now it is 13. Another, I don't know how they get bent and get off, but they do. All right, there's about, yep, we good. All right. Well, as far as I know, that's how you rebuild the carburetor. The little vacuum cap, that's a new vacuum cap. So don't be afraid to do one. When people try to make everything so complicated, I mean, you can talk about them half a day, and of course, there's some really smart people that, I guess they're tuning them for different reasons, and that's a whole different ball game. But what this is just an overhaul. You can do it on the tailgate of your truck, out in the yard. You don't even have to have a shop or anything. Just take one apart, clean it, put it back together. Video. If you've never done one before, I hope this helps you. Y'all have a nice day. Appreciate it.